to, everybody has, I say not everybody has it, but most people have insurance, some people don't. That's part of the problem that exists today. When people go to the doctor today, they think the cost of that visit is $5 or $10 or whatever your copay happens to be. They have no idea what it costs to go see a physician. And there was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, when you negotiated a payment and you paid cash to your physician. I mean, that's the way it worked. You hit another nail on the head. Part of the spiraling cost and why hospitals do so much testing and testing upon testing is because of the fear. There's a jackpot there for somebody that's going to try and sue. But look, we used to be a country that was dependent upon each individual, individual rights.
That gets down to honor and integrity of the individual person, which apparently is somewhat lacking. But we really need to get back to that. As a culture, as a people, we should be honorable enough to know, okay, maybe I caused this myself, maybe I didn't, but it's not the doctor's fault. It's a practice. They call it practicing medicine for a reason. Because it's not an exact science. You got a doctor fresh out of medical school, maybe he's performed a handful of surgeries, and he might mess up, but you're kind of taking that risk doing that. But he may save your life. He may not be able to. Doctors aren't foolproof. But just because he doesn't have that experience doesn't mean that you should go out and be like, oh, I see this is medical and sue his butt. So I think as a culture, we need to get away from that so we can get back to, what we had, like you said, 30 years ago.
Well, let me say this. What I believe, and I'm an advocate of personal responsibility. Okay? I'm not going to allow anyone to rob me of the opportunity of caring for my parents. I'll give you an example. I'm in the funeral business. You want to see chaos? Come to our funeral home and watch the family dysfunction. Mix in a little grief. Mix in $1,000 bill. You talk about dysfunction. And yet, I want to tell you something. I see families that blow me away. That they all come in, they say, many hands makes light work. They split it all. They say, no one's going to rob me of the blessing of caring for mom or caring for dad. That's honor. That's dignity. That's integrity. That's the environment I grew up in. Nobody's going to rob me of the opportunity of caring for mom and dad and my grandfather. When he passed away, we were around his bed. We took care of him. He wanted for nothing. Because that's what family does. There's the bigger challenge. The family. The single greatest crisis we have in this country right now is not debt. The single greatest crisis we have in this country right now is not education. It's not military being stretched thin all around the globe. No, it's not our energy policy. No. We are beyond crisis when it comes to the situation that we find our families in. As a family goes, so goes a nation. And we got a president. I'm coming to you. You're next. Okay? For the third time. And we have a president, okay, that 2 weeks ago thumbed his nose at the Constitution by which he swore to defend and uphold, in his recognition, along with his co-conspirator in the judiciary, saying, I'm not going to defend the Defense of Marriage Act. That's part of the family. The greatest gift I can give my children is to love their mother. That's the best gift I can give them. And so therefore, but the family. You get back to a family unit, so much of the problems we face in this country today are solved. I promise. Hold on, man. You're next.
I think dealing with problems like that is not going to be jobs.
Correct.
Back to welfare. I don't see on the table stopping the big ones and the little companies are making the greatest profits in the world. Means testing, Social Security and Medicare are very welcome. I don't see creating a new tax bracket for billionaires and millionaires who are not creating jobs. That is a total
Like who? Who we want to take from? No, no, we would. No, ma'am.
Welfare, Medicaid.
No, wait a minute now. No, wait a second.
Those are the most vulnerable people. But you're not asking. It's like none of us are in the military probably. Because most of the countries.
I would be willing to bet that some people in this room are in the military. I mean, you're sitting in the middle of 5 bases.
That's right. Exactly. And we are making a tiny percentage of our country go and fight our wars. We're not involved for the most part. And that is wrong. And the billionaires and millionaires are not involved in this recession. And that is wrong. That is welfare, corporate welfare.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I don't think the millionaires earn their money and they spend the way they want it. Robbing the poor, robbing the millionaire is still robbing. So that's my idea on that one. Welfare, yes, can be reduced if you strengthen families. Because most of the people that are benefiting from welfare are single mothers and children that are orphan. If you strengthen the family and you make sure that those children are born into a family with a mother and a father, they will not have to be going to the government to get their basics. Third of all, I want to know your opinion about the Parental Rights Amendment. Do you know what is that? It's an amendment that is proposed, we're trying to pass, in order to protect our parental rights from the intrusion of the United States Conventions on the Rights, CRC, Conventions on the Rights of the Child. President Clinton signed the CRC in 1995, but never put it into Congress to vote. But right now, Obama said that that is a shame. From all the countries of the United Nations, the United States and Somalia are the only 2 countries that haven't signed it yet. The document sounds beautiful because it is for countries where children are sold into sexual slavery, kidnapping, and all sorts of things. But in America, we already have laws established to protect children from that. But what it does is that it strips parents from all responsibility, all in the name of what is best for the child. But what is best for the child is determined by the government. Basically, it creates a state exactly a situation where the government calls the shots on everything. From parents will not be allowed to even prohibit children choose their companies. Freedom of association, freedom of media. So basically, the amendment needs to be passed. So our parental rights, which are right now a state level right, will be in our Constitution as a fundamental right. So in the case, which is like writing in the wall, that this CRC United Nations document passes or is ratified, that we will be protected as parents. This is kind of like the same approach that Hitler had in Germany, in which he basically took over the children little by little. I will, and one
Who's the House, do you know who the House sponsor is?
I believe it's the guy, Hoekstra.
He's gone now. He was in Michigan. He ran for governor, so he's no longer. But let us look. Let us just go back and look. You did bring up one thing that I abhor, and that's the United Nations.
People in Switzerland calling the shots on this document, not one of them is from the United States. Hello?
We'll check into that.
Put it on the map.
Could you please repeat what she said as far as the title of what you were talking about? I didn't hear what.
Is the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of the Child, the CRC, but you can go to parentalrights.org and all the information is there.
Parentalrights.org.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
That's fine.
I didn't hear it.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Right here.
Karen Stone from Washington County. I'd like to know if I could get to know what the racism is.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's more money that was your money to start with that went to Washington. I mean,
Racism comes coming out of our unconstitutional Department of Education. But the racism is coming from new programs coming out of our unconstitutional Department of Education. Whereby the predispositions is coming right directly from them. According to this, a new federal curriculum will now be introduced to all the schools starting in primary school. This is an international curriculum which is promoted by UNESCO.
United Nations
United
again.
Nations Education Council to clarify certifies that the education standard conforms to the treaties and agreements of the United Nations. In essence, education shall further the activities of the United Nations over the United States. This is why we are having a problem in our families. This is why we are graduating youth at empathy and right. And this is going on in our schools today. And racism is top is promoting the UN agenda, and we're paying for it. And we are paying for them to teach our children to take down our country. They are not promoting individual rights. They are promoting the human rights of the human. They are not promoting private property, but they are stealing private property. Why are we moving from this abortion, abolition of a department that is now dictated to the schools how our children are going to be educated?
Well, look, I'm a states' rights guy. Okay, I believe that government governs best when it governs closest to the people, and it also governs best when it governs least. And so, I think that public education is better suited at the local and the state level. The federal government is a bureaucracy. Washington's broke. It's been broke under Republican administrations. It's been broke under Democratic administrations. I'm a fair basher when it comes to that. But I think no more so than in public education. And I wish I could tell you that the people 1,000 miles from here in the DOE in Washington care. They don't. They don't care. They care about their job. They care about perpetuating the insanity. And I think that they're burning through American dollars as fast as they can to protect their own existence. And I think it would be much better for Florida to have total say over what happens regarding education in the state of Florida.
What do we have to do now?
What do we have to do to get out of the United Nations? Hey, there are, wish I could say hundreds, dozens of us that have been pushing the issue for a number of years. What?
What can you do to help get us out?
The same thing that I just said. For years, I have co-sponsored bills, I have talked on the floor, I have talked in committee, tried to get people to understand, look, of course, and then, let me just, from a parochial standpoint, our friends in New York City go haywire when we talk about it. They talk about all the jobs that the UN provides. So what?
I sat in your office about a month ago when you talked about the
Law of the Sea Treaty.
and it is being implemented as we speak. The framework is being set up. It needs to be stopped.
Well, and I'm not familiar with where that is in implementation, but I also know that we are but one body. And I'll tell you, I think that there's more will in this Congress to get some of the things done that you want and that we need. Is this going to be a perfect Congress? No. But there's one thing for sure. We will be totally ineffective if we don't have any cooperation in the Senate and in the White House. I believe fully that 2012 is the most important election, far more important than the election we just went through. But this election was important because it will build to next year. And I believe if we don't take the White House and we don't take the Senate, I shiver to think, what's going to happen to this nation. Because with some of the spending sprees and some of the legislation that was passed in the last 2 years, it could take us decades to uproot.
Lydia O'Connor.
Over here where we can hear you. Wow, it's like being at home.
Okay, the war in Libya is unconstitutional. It is an act of war on a nation that has not attacked the United States. Under what authority do the president take military action in Libya?
me tell you what they're claiming right now. And number one, we shouldn't be there.